Laurence, pan говорить такою гарною українською мовою. You speak such beautiful Ukrainian. Are you of Ukrainian heritage?
Yes, I am. My grandparents immigrated on both sides of my family back in the 20s.
Fantastic. And how does that Ukrainian heritage influence and shape your music?
Well, we have sung in the family ever since we were little. We were actually brought into the church and we're singing all the time, so we always have it. And it's usually through the Christmas carols. And I was actually in Winnipeg when I was 14 years old, and I took a course with Pavlo Matsenko, who was a colleague of Koshitz. And he taught me how to conduct at 14, and so I went back to Ottawa and I started a choir. And I've been doing it ever since.
So Ukrainian heritage has been with your career from the very beginning then?
Oh yes, very much so, very much so.
And how did you pick the pieces that you played for us and sung for us today at the Maidan concert?
The pieces were chosen through my research during my stay in Kyiv and Lviv last 2011. And I hope to be able to create a center here at the university for Ukrainian choral music. I have colleagues already willing to bring all the music over here so that we have a safe place as to sustain it and let it grow.
So you hope to create a center for Ukrainian choral music. That's really wonderful.
Yes.
And is that part of this larger research project that you were doing this summer?
Yes, that's absolutely correct. And they have so much over there and so much material which is not known out here. A lot of the material that's sung in the churches now, the choirs aren't strong enough to be able to do it.
Right.
This is what we done normal church choir in Ukraine. In most communities, they would have had that kind of level of performance. So it would have been, they would have known what to do with their ears and their voices, and people just sang all the time. They would sing in the fields, the народні пісні, and they would also sing while they're working in factories or whatever, which some do still.
Can I ask you about the narodní písni, these more folk songs? Does secular music have a place in your repertoire?
Yes, it does. The difficulty with it is the language and the speed. For these young folks, it would have been a little bit more difficult for them to get some of the faster, funnier joke songs that we have in our repertoire.
Okay, but is that part of your project eventually?
Oh yes. We'll have folk songs, we'll have SATB, SSA, male chorus, all of those things, so different categories. What I'd like to do is to have it open to the public so that they will actually be able to have access to it, have a sound bite of it, and so that anybody who's non-Ukrainian will be able to sing it.
So this would be also a web presence as well?
Correct.
That's fantastic. That's wonderful.
That's the dream.
That's the dream. And how close is the dream to reality?
Well, we're getting there. We just need to find the money to be able to make it happen. I have all the people in place to make the work. I have colleagues here. I have colleagues in Edmonton who are willing to help, and I'm sure it'll happen.
How has Maidan affected your work, your research, and your music?
I have not been over to Ukraine since last year. My colleagues who I've spoken with are still working, but in adverse conditions. It's really difficult for them, especially as artists. And they still thrive. They're still teaching. They're still doing what they have to do to be able to survive.
What role do you think music plays in a time of crisis?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge. People are healed through hearing, listening, singing, and experiencing, and it brings people together.
Thank you. Well, you certainly brought us together here tonight. Thank you so much for sharing your conversation and your music with us. Dr. Laurence Ewashko, thank you.
Дуже приємно.
Дуже приємно було.